Hi there. This is Frank Klesitz, the CEO of Vyral. I want to thank you for watching this interview. If you're watching this, you're probably in real estate and you want to learn how to buy or help people buy and sell more houses, probably help them sell more houses in this market. So you're going to meet Chris here today. He's up in Massachusetts, and he has a really cool story about how he was actually an attorney and then started his own brokerage, his own independent brokerage, which I want to hear about. And also was trained through the Mike Ferry system, which is kind of very anti-marketing, but set that as a foundation to complement what he's doing with Vyral and the online marketing to kind of get the 1-2 punch. All right. And I really want to go through this interview today to get that story of how he's able to sell so many homes. So Chris, the stats I have here, 250 transactions in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic.
That's right. Working every day, brother.
Yeah. I mean, 2.3 million GCI, your own independent brokerage, 40,000 contacts in your database that we're mailing on. I mean, these are,
we're getting 5,000-6,000 people watching our videos every 2 weeks.
How many agents do you have?
Right now we're about 25. So we just brought on a few. So we're like 18, 19. So we just brought more on. We're at like 15, probably 12 months ago. So we're starting to ramp that part of the business up.
So you got a good thing going on for yourself. You're running your own little shop against all the other competitors there. You're doing your own thing. I love it.
Yeah, number one in our market too.
Yeah, I know. That's incredible. How far, just for the audience, how far outside Boston are you?
So we're like Greater Lowell, so about 45 minutes north of the city. So we do like northern Mass and southern New Hampshire. So we're right on the border. So we've got Lowell, which is a big city and diverse. It's got a lot of mills and condos and kind of the old romantic industrial age mansions. And then you have a lot of the kind of basic housing that, people have. So around that city, which is the fourth largest city in Mass, you have a lot of suburbs that are suburbs with great schools, top schools in the country. So a lot of people like the area because of that.
And a very educated market.
Highly educated, yeah.
Yeah, a very educated market. So I want the audience to keep that in mind as we go through the interview today. So this is very interesting. Prosecutor, attorney, worked in politics, gets into real estate. Why?
For me, it was really the combination of things in my life. My father is a builder, and so I grew up around that. And, when you're growing up, you kind of push away from what your parents do. And my stepmother, who he's married, she's an agent. I think you reject it a little bit because you want to find your own way. So when I got out of school, I went into politics and I worked for our local congressman and became his top advisor. Went to law school, went to the DA's office, started prosecuting cases. And on both of these jobs, you're helping people, right? When you're in a congressional office, you're helping in a different way. People are reaching out to you because they either want legislative fixes or people are calling the office because they need help with some problem that they have. And in the prosecutor's office, you're helping people because maybe they're a victim of a crime or something happened to them. So you're trying to fight and be their voice in the courtroom. And so I came to the point where I was looking to merge these two. I said, I could do the firm full time, but I don't get the full political component of what I do. And I kind of was looking through my life and my upbringing, and I said, a real estate brokerage really complements both of these. On the one hand, you get that political piece, right? Think about political campaigns, Frank. You've got signs with the names of people on it. Those are the for sale signs of people's houses.
I've never thought about that, but there's a lot of similarities.
You're cold calling the people to vote for you.
Yeah.
Here, we're cold calling to get the listing, right? It's about branding yourself to a market. So I always say, be the mayor of your sphere, right? Because the mayor has to go out or she has to go out and they're doing ribbon cuttings and they're doing things to brand themselves to that community. We're doing the same exact thing in real estate to try to get our name out, right? So we're doing events and we're doing booths. They really are very similar. But we also have a legal piece that a lot of people ignore, right? And a lot of the agents in the markets have challenges with. Everybody talks about the sales piece, which is critical, but they can't forget there's a legal piece too. There's contracts, there's offers,
Well, this has to lend to the fact that you're your own broker and having your own independent business is a huge value add
100%.
for someone to come work for
100%.
you.
That, and for clients, right? We know if we get into a challenge on an issue with a contract, we've got that. But we also, I have a good background in marketing, but Vyral is like a huge help to us because it's like next level in terms of the type of stuff that we learn from it. But the background was a good basis that I had in politics.
Yeah. So I just want to share with the audience here, you have a very educated client through full-blown lawyer, gets into real estate. And I think you fell into the Mike Ferry system of like how to build your business, which is excellent. Tell everyone what Mike Ferry taught you.
He's the reminder. I think for me, I resonate with Mike because one, Mike tells you, look, it's hard work and you can't cut corners and there's not always just a magic formula, right? It's the hard lesson that a lot of people don't always want to hear. But then it's a prospecting system of calling people, calling your sphere, calling your expireds, calling for sale by owners, and really focusing in on your numbers. That if you call a lot of people, you can get a lot of result. And third, practice those skills at a high level. So learn your scripts, know exactly what to say so that when you talk to somebody on the phone or you go to a face-to-face presentation, that you're fully prepared for it. And so Mike was instrumental for me to bring me back to
You taught an attorney how to go sell.
That's the reality of it, right? And that was me. I was like, hey, I've got these components, and then I'm seeking people out, and that's how I came to Mike. And with Vyral, for me, it's like another piece to it that I didn't really have. It's like I'm a great prospector, right? Number one seller in my market. I was number 3 in mass for personal transactions last year, right? Heavy seller. But there's this whole marketing piece that's changing and emerging. And you think about it, Frank, every day, I'm managing other agents. I'm doing my own business at an extremely high level. There's a lot of stuff that you want to do, but you can't do, right? Keeping in touch with your sphere. You want to do it, but a lot of times it falls through the cracks, right? You want to be doing all these things in marketing. You hear about Facebook advertising, you hear about social media advertising, but you don't really know how to do it because it's a little bit outside of your wheelhouse. And that's how I met you. And so I was watching your videos. They came on social media, and I was like, hey, who is this guy? And then as I started to watch that, but it's another piece. I appreciate it. I'm grateful. A lot of people just watch you. They don't get to talk to you. But for my piece, it's an education that I don't have, and I'm able to outsource a lot of the stuff that I'm always like, man, I wish I was doing this. I wish I was doing that.
Yeah, I taught you marketing for real estate to complement Mike's message. You can't do viral marketing without what Mike teach. You'll go broke. You got to do both. It's like diet and exercise. So let's talk about Mike in the sales training. So sales training through Mike got you to basically, what habits did you have in place before you hired us? Daily
prospecting.
Habits
So I'm
Mike
getting up at, I usually up at 6 o'clock. I got kids. I'm at the office by 8. And I'm usually prospecting. I'm on the phones. Usually 9 o'clock I like to call. I don't like to call too early. And I usually call till 1 o'clock straight. I'm usually on a dialer. So I'm constantly on the phone.
How many dials do you do every day? How many contacts?
It's like today the dials were about 325 dials. My contacts were like 47 or 48 today.
That's good. On 300 dials, you got 47 people.
Some days I get 3%.
You call on your database, you call on your house list.
You got it. Yeah, they pick up, and then the calls take longer, right?
Because numbers are probably good because they're opt-ins.
And they know me. But here, listen, we just did an email out. We did the guarantee sold email that you guys did. Listen,
like that,
I get 4 people that inquired, and I get 4 listing appointments off that one email. Think about that.
Say that again. Hold on. Chris,
think about that.
For the recording, give me something good. Say that again.
So we did, Dan, who I work with in your organization, said, hey, we have this guaranteed sold email that's really great, and we getting a good response from it. Do you want to send it out? I looked at it. I was a little nervous, right? It's a little different. So I said, let's push it out. So we pushed out the email to the database, and that just hit yesterday. Right now I have 4 listing appointments as a result of that one email. So the email hits. And the thing I have a big database, because I think a good thing that I have done that's a little bit of a divergent from the ferry system that I've learned from you guys is you don't throw away the old leads, right? Mike was always like, hey, don't keep your old leads. If they're not hot, get rid of them. And I understand why he teaches that. But with you guys, I learned, hey, go through all the database, all the old deals, all the old leads, and communicate with them. And I'm getting people I'm not sure, I know this name, but I don't really know exactly who they are. But when I call them, they know me. And I'm like, hey, you just reached out, guaranteed sold. They're like, yeah, I want to get ready to sell my home. 4 in one email. So that's the power of doing the marketing and the branding piece that would I have gotten them in my phone system and called them through prospecting? I mean, at some point, but calling through the number of people that I have, by the time it happened, those homes would have been sold. So doing this marketing repetitively in the way that we're doing it, we're getting these responses that I would not have known these people were in the market. Because you can't stay on top of a large database because you got to call it. It takes time. Even if you do 100 calls a day, which is a lot, and you have 5,000 people in your database, by the time you get through that, there will be people who have listed and sold their homes because you didn't get to them in time. You know what I mean? With a broad message, they're coming to me. So I'm like, oh, wow, these people in my database, they're not even on my A list to be calling right now. But now I'm pulling them out and saying, wow, you guys are looking to sell. This is really powerful and cool.
The question I want to ask you is, being taught by Mike with great sales training, but it's very good. There was a point though, you're like, you know what? I need to complement this with some marketing. And that's risky because you have to start writing some checks. I know in his system and in sales training, you don't write checks, but you need to write a check. So when did you realize, instead of throwing away anyone that's not ready to buy or sell a home in like 3 days or whatever it is, I should start getting email addresses and having a 36 touch program, which is very popular over in the Keller Williams world. 33 touch, 36 touch. What was that shift? And when was that you realized you need to put a touch plan in place to your list beyond phone calls?
You know what it was? It's like, everybody has those moments when you're looking on social media and you're saying, wow, that person just bought a house and that was supposed to be me. Or you go to a party and you see a family member and they go, hey, you know what? And I'm good at following up on the phone, but I couldn't get there fast enough. That's the truth. By the time you get there, it was too late. I said, I got to get some systems in place that are affordable when you think about it. Because if you're mailing all the time and you do once a month or twice a month a full database, that gets very expensive too as you get larger. So I was looking and saying, how do I not just stay in touch, but where can I get the actual physical help, right? The thing that you have done for me, Frank, is that in a lot of ways, you're a coach too, but you actually do the work, right? So when I'm meeting weekly with Dan, we have a plan, but that work of those touches is getting done by your organization. Without you guys, the truth is, unless I go hire a full-time person to be doing that for me, which is really expensive, for what's a pretty reasonable price, I'm getting to stay in front of my database and getting that weekly call where it's like, hey, like Dan called me, hey, you got to watch I added on to the recruitment class that you did because I'm having such good results on the sales for my clients. But he's like, hey, what's going on? Did you get those photos? He's staying on top of me. If I didn't have that, the truth is, Frank, you get too busy. I mean, there's too much going on. It would just slip through the cracks. I mean, I wouldn't be able to, if you think about paying for the database, getting people to edit the videos, staying on top of them twice a week,
proofreading,
doing the proofreading, typing all the stuff.
The temperament of someone like you would never slow down and like proofread all that for all the errors before it goes out.
And it's managing those people too, right? Like, hey, did you get this done or not done? Or with Vyral, what you guys have done for me, I have it out twice a month. I'm getting my videos out, plus I'm getting content. And that's powerful because now I'm getting leads in. Sellers are coming in.
Was there any hesitancy about making the jump with us?
I think you're always a little hesitant because anytime you're spending money, you want to make sure it works. And you're going video, right? And so you got to make this leap of like, okay, I'm used to going out there and calling people, but now I got to put my face out there and I got to communicate this message. So there's always a little bit of hesitancy, at least with me coming on, but I had to overcome that. I mean, going through you, it's like, hey, you just got to put yourself out there. You got to be willing to get on camera. You got to be willing to have your conversation. And I took some steps and I overcame that, and we're getting a great response from the videos.
How do you come up with the topics that are the best to send to your list?
A couple of things.
Because I could see, like, you're, like I said, you're very educated. You're a smart man.
I appreciate that.
and you don't.
Yeah.
I mean that you don't want to send out slop.
Well,
so how do you come up with the content the audience really cares about?
Well, I mean, the truth is, you guys write all of you guys write these great market reports for us every month about what's happening. I make some slight changes to it, just adapting it to my location, my cities, my towns, or Mass and New Hampshire. But that's the topics that I get for my monthly report. You guys do it. I don't do it. Then with topics that come up, two things. You guys send a list of what's been hot. So I look at that list and I say, okay, these are some topics that are working for other agents. I use those. And then I keep track of things that come up in my market. So if I go out and somebody's asking me something or I see something, I go, you know what? I'm going to talk about that this week in the video. But I'm always looking for what you taught me. What is going to get the seller to catch their attention in this market, right? Like, so I'll do like sellers. Are you going to miss this market? Or have we peaked in this market? All stuff that you guys are putting out there. And I look at that and I go, yeah, if I'm a seller, this is what I'm really going to be worried about, right? Like, I don't want to miss this thing. And so I come up with it those ways on the information that you guys are providing to us on what's working. And then when I get people on the field, when I meet them, I take that information and I build it in with you guys.
How is this helping your business? So this is great. You send the email out, you get leads, but
yes, we're 25.
You have 25 agents.
Yep.
You're the top person there.
Yep.
I'm assuming people Google you online.
You got it.
And you're going on listing presentations. You're still, and I think that's something. There's a lesson here. Like, you're still with the troops making calls.
125 sales last year. For a single agent, not a team. That's a lot. That's a lot of deals.
That's a lot of business. How is the video blog helping you besides, like, I send video out and get lead? How is it helping you from a positioning standpoint? When
the thing is this, Frank, I think before when I Googled my name, you'd see a lot of content, but now it's my face is everywhere with video, right? So now if you Google me, if your audience Googles me, you're going to see a Doherty video on this, a Doherty video on that, and I'm boosting up in the rankings, right? My name is Christian Doherty, and it's easier for people to search that, but I go by Chris. So when people go, sometimes I'm in a fight on text for SEO, but with the videos, I'm showing up at the top of those searches on the videos. So that's helping. When a seller goes, you know that they're Googling and looking at these videos, and they're seeing all this advice, and I'm looking like I'm more of a leader. Right? Because they're saying, hey, look at this guy. He's got professional videos. They're slick. He's an authority on this stuff. Okay. It's, I think that there's a branding component of this that is critical in this era, right? Where it's not just the prospect of, okay, you get the call from Chris Doherty. Now you're researching him. You're saying, wow, this guy's on top of it. He's really a leader on all of these issues, and you can find him everywhere. So I think that's a huge piece that this is bringing to my business.
And you've been doing this for a long time. I don't even think you've necessarily been keeping up with all the new technology to make your video look
when
better.
When I go in your trainings, man, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, do you come on the Monday trainings?
I go every week.
And then you have the recruiting course.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot that in this business, there's a lot that we don't know.
You can't stay on top of everything. Well, you asked me earlier, you said, hey, Frank, you look really good with the lights.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you look, I'm a little bit more glowy, and I'm like, you look so good and natural.
Let me give you a couple tips for those of you watching.
Yeah.
So my webcam is the Logitech C920.
Yep.
It's about $60-$70. I think you're using the FaceTime camera right now on your laptop, right?
Exactly.
So your quality is a little bit lower.
Yep.
You're coming at like 720p.
Exactly. Yep.
Go get yourself get the Logitech C920.
Okay.
And it'll be a nice little webcam that goes right on your monitor. But then you got to have good light. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my lights off so you can see the difference. So here's my lights when they're off. See the difference? It's like harsh.
Huge, yeah.
And now I'm going to turn my lights on. That's going to take a second to reset. But look at that.
It looks good and natural.
Now, these are expensive lights. So if you're actually made it this far in the interview, you probably really care about this stuff.
Yeah.
So they just came out with them. They're about $200 each. I have one right here.
Yep.
See this?
I love it.
And I have one right here. And they're really low profile. They just like clamp right to the edge of your desk. It's called the Elgato Key Light.
Okay.
ELGATO Key Light.
Okay.
And
they look
you
great.
Control them from your computer. They're really nice. Oh, they're fantastic.
They look great.
And they're really low profile versus like the big soft boxes. And they're not hot.
Yeah, you're not sweating.
Sweating. Yeah. And then we got you a headset too.
How do you like the headset?
Right?
You sent me this.
Yeah, we actually... Yep. So, and again, when you record your videos, it's perfectly fine a headset. I mean, I think every video I've ever done, at least on a Zoom meeting, I've always had a headset because I move and I don't want to have like a steady microphone because, I got to stand at my desk and everything. So those are just a couple of things you can do to make your videos look better.
That's a good idea.
But I want to transition a bit. So clearly you putting a 36 touch plan through Vyral marketing to your database is helping you grow your business.
Enormously, because if you're an agent out there, and we've been teaching this to our agents, right, and encouraging them to do the same thing, because you don't want to be the agent that looks and you realize like, hey, this person was in my database and I lost them because I just wasn't communicating with them. That's what Vyral was doing for us, was staying on top of them. People are getting the emails, they're getting the videos, and people comment back to me. I mean, you said our database is 40,000, so I have a huge database, right? But I mean, as you can imagine, I was at the shop the other day and somebody was just looking at me and they're like, I think I just got a video from you. That's staying on top of, if, the last, Dan, we went over the stats, we get anywhere a low of 2,000 people will watch the video to a high of 5,000. 5,000 people watching some of your video bi-weekly is a huge number. And so,
especially, we're giving you the report of who opens.
You got it, and then that's where my
are you working
that's
those
where
leads?
my Mike Ferry skill set comes in, right? So now we take all of the people. Like, this is something I would have never known, Frank. For me, like, even with the websites that I have, right? Because we have websites and we get leads, but I would have never known, like, you guys understand, like, hey, when somebody clicks this, that's a high value. When somebody clicks that, for me, I would never know that. I would just think, oh, somebody's on the site, but I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't understand.
Let me share with the audience. So let's say you make a video on. Here's a good title. I'm gonna give you. Ready, Chris? 3 things you must absolutely know before you sell your Massachusetts home this fall.
I like it.
How does that sound? All right. So you're gonna send it out, and you'll have people that open the email and they probably see the graphics. You'll have people that actually click a link and actually click something and like takes them somewhere, and you'll have people that maybe even opt in from one of the call to action. So I'd start with the opt-ins, obviously. You get a couple of those. But then I would go to the people that actually click the links, like to watch the video or engage with the email. I mean, that's legit. And then you can go so much farther as people that actually opened it. They saw your brand impression. They saw the video. They may not have watched it, but they saw the video come through with the graphic. And when you call and you say, this is who I am, instead of getting a, huh?
I just saw your video.
Oh. Yeah, it takes away the friction.
And the thing that I found is this, it's amazing, Frank. The hots that you guys are sending, they're real hots. So like I look and I'm like, hey, this is somebody that's like, I know they're motivated. Like sometimes I'll get somebody in the database that we're in conversations with them, but I'm like, yeah, this person's watching the video. Like the people that really click and watch are really the people that are interested in, like I had those calls that came through today. They came through as hots. Some people requested and I called them and they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about selling. But if that was me, Frank, and that came through, I didn't have that knowledge, right? Like, hey, if somebody just clicks, and they get that far into your system, like, hey, this is somebody that's like, got to go to the top of the list. I don't think before I would have prioritized it that way just because I didn't have that kind of back-end website knowledge, of like when people are on your email marketing doing this makes them a higher target.
Well, Chris, look, you got to go make money. You're a rainmaker. You're running a business. You don't have time to be screwing around in front of a computer, and for you to log into the email program, download the report, get this gnarly spreadsheet, sort it correctly, We do that. So we actually go into your email marketing account, download the emails, sort it all. Like, hey man, just like open this and like call this from top to bottom.
And that's what I do.
Start at the top.
And that's the Mike
down.
Ferry, right? So then when I get those, these are my sphere. But now I have high targets. So every day, or, because a lot of times, like we'll get the hots, you might get 50 or 60. That's a lot. But my warms could be a couple of thousand. So it's going to take me a week and a half or 2 weeks to call through.
Well, you got the dialer.
If I get the dialer, I could probably get through them in 3 or 4 days on an aggressive schedule. But if I was even doing like, I use Follow Up Boss too, so I could do click, click, click. I'm probably going to get through in 4 hours, maybe 80 to 90 calls.
If you want to give a RealSync a call, RealSynch. Got it.
Yeah, those guys are great.
And if you pay attention, because it's easy to screw this up, but we can set it so your database is syncing in real time with our email.
Yeah, we did that.
And then if somebody clicks, it sends it to your dialer.
RealSync has been awesome. So that's the key, right? Getting all this stuff in. For me, that's where I want to be. You guys are worried about, tell me to do this, and you guys are worried about getting it out there, and I'm doing my job in the Mike Ferry system of dialing and calling, right? That's the merger.
So you took the sales training with Mike, and then you complemented with some viral marketing, and you're in your own production, and you're doing well, and you're making money, but there's only so much of you. So you decide to start recruiting some agents, and you go, hey, maybe I could use the same marketing techniques, but for agents. So where did that idea come from?
Oh, I mean, that came from you guys. Well, I think the thing is this.
I'm really good at asking the right questions.
But
I should be an attorney. I know the answer to every question.
You're never going to ask a question you don't know the answer to. I mean, the truth is this. It's the same exact dilemma that you have. I was recruiting, but not aggressively, right? Because I don't have the time. And it's one of those things that falls through the cracks, just like your database, right? You want to do it, you talk about doing it. And so it falls through. So I was like, hey, now that my database is running the right way, and you guys are helping me with more than just the videos and stuff. But once we get that running the right way, then I'm like, hey, it's the same thing for recruitment. I want to do it, but I need a system and a process to do it. So it's more than just me kind of saying that I want some people on and I never do it. So it's the same exact thing where I can get out there to the market, become a leader among the agents so they're seeing my content, but it's also giving me a whole process, right? How do we bring them in? How do we onboard them? How do we make sure that we have this process and system in place? I know it's easy from your perspective, Frank, because you're doing this, all over the country with people.
That's all I do.
But for, me as an agent, you think about it and it's like, yeah, I got a good sense of how to do some stuff, but probably not always the right way. But then I'm there and I'm like, oh yeah, I should be doing that. Or, oh man, why aren't we doing this? Or I didn't think about that. That's where you guys come in. And it's the same exact formula of, okay, now that we have this up, now Viral's doing the same thing for me on the recruiting end.
How do you come up with the video topics to send out to the agents in your list to coach and train them so they spend more time with you and actually like you? Because that's one of the biggest things. When you're the top dog, and look, you're the top dog in your market, you have a lot of haters because they kind of the other agents,
they all want to know what you
they kind of like they don't know you, they just know you as the guy that takes all the listings. So there's this natural probably just an envy, but you start sending out coaching videos to help people and to give, kind of like being your own little Tom Ferry, if you will, or what Mike Ferry does now very well with his videos and sending things out. How has that helped you doing?
I think that the benefit of it is there's a lot of things. One, it puts you as somebody that is giving out content to other agents so they know you too, right? So when it comes to, if you're a performer like me, when you want to do a deal on the other end, the agent knows me because they've been getting my content, right? Mm-hmm. So think about that. It
reduces some of the friction in the deal.
It reduces some of the friction. Or if I call an agent like, hey, I'm advocating on behalf of a buyer or seller, in that way they'll know me. So just outside of recruiting, there's a benefit, right? The second thing is when you want to recruit people, they know you and they're saying, hey, they're more aware of my, I guess, success, if you want to call it that, and that I'm willing to share the tips and secrets that we've used to get there. And I think that they look at that and they say, hey, he's approachable. So if I'm in a situation where we have a buyer and a listing, a lot of times you're just like, hey, how are you doing that? Or how are you doing this? That's because these videos are making me more approachable. The third thing is I'm getting all these calls from agents, right? Because they're getting the data. And a lot of times it's not always just recruiting. It's like, hey, or how do I do this, or how do I do that? They're looking for some of that advice and guidance, but that is developing these relationships. It's not like a hard sell, right? Where I'm like, I want to recruit you or get you. It's not like that. It's making me somebody that people are looking at as I'm willing to share my knowledge and expertise. And I'm not this person that's like not approachable. And we recruited an agent, and she was like, I was a little nervous because, I've done a couple of deals with you in your office and I have help. So the perception for her was like, I was kind of like, in some ways, maybe a little bit unapproachable because I'm, so busy, and I was a little curt. But
Yeah.
it's
You have a lot of people between her and you.
so she gets the content, and then she talks to me. She's like, wow, you really want to help me. You want to give me advice, guidance, counsel, and you really care about me. And that's the type of stuff that this is doing for us. It's showing like, hey, yeah, I'm selling a lot of real estate, but I'm imparting this, and we're approachable, and we want to help people. I mean, this stuff is the wave of the future, and this is where this stuff is and where it's going. Video selling content is just, it's letting me into their homes. It's letting me into their cell phone. It's allowing me to have dialogue with people, that I wouldn't be able to do, ordinarily.
Chris, what can I do better as a CEO of Vyral?
I don't know. You guys are doing a great job. I mean, honestly, I think that if you look at it from an agent perspective, I mean, you're doing the trainings, and that is for people that want to get that knowledge and content.
So you hop on the Monday trainings when you can, the little classes I teach.
Course.
Those are great, aren't they?
Because you learn stuff, and I'm like, and you're like, hey, you hear the light bulbs going off? I mean, are the wheels spinning?
So for those of you watching, every Monday, if you go to the Vyral Marketing Classroom, I teach class for all of our customers. And I take those very seriously. And then if you're not a customer, I let you attend if I vet you out so I know who you are. So if you at least apply and talk to us so I know who you are, I'll invite you into the classroom because I don't be training, everyone in the world. That's one like good prospects and customers on those. But every Monday I teach class, and the whole agenda is up on the classroom on the website. And I think you'd really, Chris says it's great, so don't take
Well,
my
yeah,
word.
I mean, if you're a real estate agent, it's mind-blowing, right? Because it's like, you're not in that world. I mean, you were in a very small way. You're in that world. If you're tech savvy, maybe you get your website, but there's stuff that's happening and people are doing in the marketing world. You just don't do it. But here's the other thing, Frank. I'm extremely frugal. I always have been. But I look at your company. I always say, how is Frank making any money on this, right?
So I'll tell you, I had to, you have to get to about 300 customers before there's money left for you.
Yeah. Because you think about it.
And because once you have your management, because the expenses, you have to get going, you have to hire the people to do the work, and then the management staff and the overhead. And
you got to do the databases. You got to create the content.
I had to bootstrap the whole thing, dude. We have a system to get like 1,000 videos in a month. Imagine that Trello board.
Well, that's what I mean.
Right?
Like I always say, like I couldn't do this cheaper. So why wouldn't I be doing this?
No,
if I wanted to go do this and get the database, edit the videos, get somebody to copyright
not
the
for
videos,
500,
push them out, manage it, call me. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? Even if
Thank you. And I also wanted to just throw out there too, like it's if you wanted to go get one other business to maybe bring into some of your videos or to kind of co-advertise with you in some way on your videos, they can easily pay half your fee.
I got to do that.
It's $275. You're doing good business, but still $275. I have all of the paperwork that in a third party valuation.
I got to do that
for a mortgage person. If you want to go to your mortgage person and say, "Hey, co-advertise with me," that's okay to do because they're actually participating in the advertising. And don't ask for more than half. So they're included in your videos. We have all that documentation.
Well, think of it like this, Frank. If I was going to have to mail a database of 40,000 people what would I be spending?
Oh, yeah, no. Probably 25 grand. It's about 60
and that would be once a month if you're lucky, So that's the thing. And so if you want to be broad-based, it's just the whole thing is making me think differently about the world and where we're going. Right, as an industry, and for somebody like me, I'm not 20s. I'm not at the end of my career, but I'm at this place where I need that. I need that advice. I need that guidance. I need people around me who are looking at the world in a way that I'm not looking at it. Like, yeah, I'll do my prospecting, I'll do my calls, but there's this whole other marketing piece out there that people are doing. Like, go to one of your classes, and you're going to be like, what? I remember like the skip tracing. Tracing.
Well, you should come to the one on Monday.
This is how we look people, all this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh. Yes.
Were you on the one last week?
Oh,
where
yeah.
pending
It's
missing phone
crazy.
numbers and emails. Yeah. And then this week we did the reconnect email. You watched me personalize it on Monday. And then next week we're going to talk about how to get your 25 agents to do everything I taught. So basically what Chris is saying here is we got to get the databases of all 25 agents, get them to export everything, and get them to start sending emails out to
and
their
just
lists.
grow that, And that's what we've been doing. That's the training piece we've been doing with our agents of like, hey, do this, and we can push that content out.
And that's a curriculum in the classroom. You guys.
But this is the thing: when you're an agent and you're out there, you're so busy, you won't get this stuff done unless you get some help. And for the $550 a month to get constant, it's a good deal. It is.
It's a good deal.
I mean, you couldn't, even if you're going overseas and trying to figure it out and try to manage everybody. Imagine what the copyright's going to come back as if you don't have those systems in place. You can't do it.
I would say that the two things at Vyral that I'm probably the most proud of is the account management of the team that calls you and guides you and helps you and talks to you in the communication. That's like the big thing that I focus on a lot. And then the second thing is the proofreading process. It does take 7 business days, and God, I would love to speed that up, but you can't, or you're going to have mistakes. I'm really proud of the quality assurance process of one pair of eyes looks at it, then another pair of eyes and you have to have somebody that has the temperament to slow down and do that. Because if you're throwing work on a marketing assistant and it's just a high chaos office and you're trying to publish.
Well, look at it like this. I just had a video. We just had a video out
process.
that I talk about renting, right? That the renting market is shifting. And then I talk about that because what it's going to mean for buyers and sellers, right? So, but that video came back perfect. The content, the word, like they look any edits. I said, no. Here's the other thing, Frank, because I'm grateful for what you guys have done for me. Any agent that's out there, right? If they're paying for coaching, most coaching is going to cost you $500, $1,000. Some are charging $2,500 for teams, but they don't do anything for you. They just give you advice, right? They say, oh, go do this or go do that. With you guys, it's a coaching program, in my opinion.
It's
Yeah,
like
because
it
is a
service.
coaching program because I'm going to the trainings every week that you are personally doing. I have somebody every week that I check in with on the different marketing aspects of what we're doing, but they actually do something for me. They give me product that actually goes out. I mean, think about it, right?
Crazy
So
concept,
instead of like, I could go hire some coach and you know what they're going to say? Like with, they're going to say, call your database, call your sphere, send them a letter. And I'm going to pay them a lot of money to do that. With you, to supplement what I already do, I'm actually getting the work produced for me for less than I pay for coaching in general. So think about that. I mean, think about that.
Thanks for saying that.
You're getting a database, you're getting editing of videos, you're
it.
getting content pushed out for $550. I mean, trust me.
I think it's a good deal.
I'm frugal, so I was looking like,
it's a
can
good
I do
deal.
this? You can't. You just can't. You won't be able to do it. So I give you credit.
Well, Chris,
I give you credit.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the kind words today. If you guys want to know more about the marketing plan that Chris is following, you can go to the homepage at getvyral.com and download our official video marketing plan. That's the manifesto of how.
What about the recruiting book? I mean, how long did that take to write?
Yeah. So if there's a small segment of our customers that want to like crush it with recruiting, Chris is one of them.
I'm very interested.
I'll tell you how I did that. Actually, I'll tell you how I did it. So I wanted to teach a class on how I wanted to help our clients recruit, but I knew I wanted to do it right, as if I was in business with all of you, not like I'm trying to get some money grab of selling you something. And if I went with the attitude that I'm in business with all of you, I realized we have to build the plane while you're flying because you're all in production. So the idea would be we're going to do 1 hour a week where I kind of go deep on a concept and then we execute one thing a week. And when I put this together, I was like, oh my God, it's 24 lessons. Oh my God, it's going to take 6 months. I don't think anyone's going to buy it. But I was like, you know what? This is what you have to do if you actually want this to work, which is a crazy standard when you're selling stuff because most of that's not the standard they use. It's what can I sell? Got it? So I put together this 6-month course, and I said, hey, I have this outline. I have these 24 outlines, I have these 24 lessons. Who would like to take the course for free? So what I did is I had about, I think 15 some people were like, I'll do it for free. I said, great, free, wholly free. And I literally went through and I taught 24 lessons, and I came prepared with my outline for free. And my assistant watched them and wrote the lesson.
That poor admin.
So at the end of 6 months, I had 24
recruiting
chapters.
workbook.
You follow me? Yeah. And I think it's like 2,200 pages. And I was like, that's great. That's going to complement the course, but I think it's better than complementing the course. That's what I'll put out on the front end to say, if you want to help with your recruiting, opt in to get the workbook. And now I have a lead I can talk to for possibly enrolling in class. Plus, what's a better way to sell the course? Funk. Here's what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
listen, that's the other thing too. I mean, like, you get into a lot. I've been in situations in the past, coaching contracts, you get locked in. You guys are like, hey, if you want to be with us, you're with us. If you're not, you're not. And that's the way to do. That's good business in my mind.
Yep. One of my top lead sources is past clients coming back. It's one of my, I look at all my lead sources, the past client, be like, yeah, it was a bad time in my life, something was going on, but like, you guys are really nice to me, and like, give it back.
Listen, it works. I mean, listen, whatever we're paying for this, I just got 4 listing appointments that I would not have gotten from one email. If I get 2 of them, the commissions are going to be,
good.
Yeah.
Real good, especially in the Boston area.
40 times,
yeah,
50 times in one email. And I mean, to the monthly, it's going to be 5 or 6 times the yearly just on the one email.
Cool.
So it's a good return on investment.
Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate the interview.
I'm grateful.
Online, and obviously, if anyone's thinking about using this or your client that wants to get some more results, it looks like Chris would be happy to talk to you.
100%. I can't say anything more highly about what you're doing, Frank, and your company. And I'm grateful for everything you guys have done for me and our company to help us grow. It means a lot.
Chris, thank you.